We're coming to the end of a multi-year restoration on this 1975 Mercedes 280 SL and plan to take it on its first rally this weekend, the Clifton Classic Car Rally. But before we can do that, we need to whip out the track rod ends, tie rod ends, drag links, because there's a horrible clicking, clunking coming from the underside of this car. And just to make life difficult, I'm going to try and do the whole job without jacking the car up or taking any wheels off. One of the things I love about the R107 is that the parts are readily available and not particularly expensive. So all of these parts here came to just over £100, which is quite incredible. I will leave you all the part numbers at the end of the video and in the description, but as I say, we're going to be refreshing the steering on this car, and it is not expensive to do it. And from memory, I don't think it's a particularly difficult job either, but those might be famous last words. I'm here under the car, and in theory, to get all of this off, all we have to do is undo that nut there, that nut there, the same nut on the other side, and the nut on the pitman arm, which is the thing that attaches the steering wheel, and then the whole caboodle should come off in one go. Obviously, getting these ball joints out was probably going to require a ball joint splitter, which of course I haven't got with me. So, and also there are split pins in here. I don't know if you can see that. And half the time these split pins are put in the wrong way around and are impossible to get out. But anyway, let's see how we get on trying to get some of these nuts undone. Amusingly enough, it looks like this first split pin is actually going to come out without, oops, where that went, without breaking. Well, amazingly, that seems to be coming off. So let's try some of the others before we get too carried away. This one here is also coming off. Now you have to remember when you take these off that the new bits don't necessarily come with the nuts and bolts, so you have to retain those or get hold of some others. We may well go along to ACCU and just replace all of these with stainless steel so they don't rust in the future. When you come to split these ball joints with a ball joint splitter, it's well to keep the top nut on so that this does not just come flying out. And also make sure you wear some goggles, because these ball joints will often split with some considerable force. In theory, it should just be a matter of tightening this ball joint splitter up. It's an idea to put some grease on the threads before you start. Of course, I haven't done that. They usually come apart with a loud pop, like that. Well, you don't have to look too long and hard to see that these ball joints here are completely knackered. The rubber is all cracked. That's going to be letting all sorts of oil and everything else in. Now remember that these nuts here do not come with the new parts, so you've got to retain them. But what I'm actually going to do is go along to one of our favorite companies called ACCU, who deliver next day, and actually get some stainless steel nuts and washers like that, so we can just put the new bits on and make it look nice. We need to take these off. Once again, it's a matter of undoing the nuts, not all the way, and just splitting the ball joint here. And then at the after a little bit of a battle, we got that out. Now the actual rubbers themselves look fine, but actually this here has got way too much movement in it. I suspect that's what might have been the culprit to our clicking. These things should be really stiff to move when you first get them. You shouldn't be able to easily move them with your thumb like that. So these ball joints are definitely knackered. Now the length of this here will affect your tracking. So when you put the new one on, you want it to be exactly the same length and orientation. And the way I'm going to achieve that is by just drawing around here and here, putting two little holes in this box and then lining these up exactly. And then at a later date, we can take this in for some tracking. It's broke without any problem, and that should be this. Let's have a quick look at this one. You can see that the rubbers look absolutely fine. So from the outside, there's nothing wrong with this, but when you move this, it's so loose. It's definitely knackered. When you come to put all this back together, make sure that you're putting the bolts in the right direction. and you're remembering all the washers. Now we will, as I say, be replacing these with stainless steel bolts, but just make sure you get everything lined up exactly as it was when you took it off the car. Just arrived from ACCU the day after we ordered. It is everything we need to put the steering back together with stainless steel fittings. Now it is worth mentioning that these fittings here, the ball joint fittings, are a 1mm pitch thread, so they're M10 fine threads, but 1mm locking nuts. It's easy to make the mistake and get 1¼ mil. Ask me how I know. These here are just standard M8 locking nuts on here, and then we've got a couple of stainless steel bolts. Now these bolts here are about £3 or £4 each, so it's not cheap doing what we're doing here, but these will go through here. And then we've got a stainless steel wave washer and also a non-locking nut on the end of there, because obviously with a wave washer you don't need that. So I will leave all these sizes and costs in the description below. This has all gone back together nice and easily with stainless steel fittings, the bolts here, and also these nuts on here, just to ensure that they don't rust in the future. I was going to change the bushings in here on this bolt, but I think I'll wait until we actually take the subframe off and powder coat it, because we're going to have to paint some of these things here while we're in there and make up a new heat shield here. So for the time being, we're just going to do the steering. Now that we've successfully got this car back together, we're going to take this car on a lovely little test drive at the Clifton Classic Car Rally. Well, what do you think of this crazy car here, guys? It is, look at that. Do you like the fin? The Clifton Car Rally, we have the new, that's you as well, meeting the old. Look at that beauty there. So Grace, what do you think about this for our next car? Think we'd get this in our garage?
Absolutely.
But look at the workmanship.
It's literally the same size as our car.
I know. It's like a truck tyre, isn't it?
That's the same size as the Fiat.
But look, have you ever seen this like a boat? It's just beautiful.
We'll get back to the cars, we're off for 3 minutes. Go back to the cars, we're off for 3 minutes.
Well, the steering on this car is a gazillion times better than it was, but it still has a slight clunk when you go full lock on this side. Of course, I can't replicate it now, but it's definitely better than it was. But I think we'll have to maybe look at the shock absorbers, and then when we take the subframe off, look at the springs, make sure we haven't got any broken springs on this car. I'm going to leave this video here. This car is now running so smoothly, though I say so myself. The next thing I think I'm going to attempt to do, which I've been putting off for several years now, is to take this windscreen out and re-rivet in the little clips that hold on the lower trim. What the person who owned this car before did was just stuck it on with mastic, and that is just a bodge I do not want to get involved in. So I'm actually going to take the windscreen out, which involves taking off all this trim here and then putting the clips back in and then putting everything back together and then putting the windscreen wipers on, and then that will be that front end of this car finished. I might even get round to cleaning this car at some stage.